Right, good day junior techies, and welcome to this question 3 of the worksheet. We're going to be working through this question. My name is Mr. P. I'm taking you through this and I hope you do enjoy with me. Right, so the first thing looking at question 3 is we're going to be getting a little bit of context, and you'll see we're reading through this question, pick up the fact that the grade 11 learners investigated optimum or ideal temperature for growth of bread mold. Okay, so there is one of the variables that I've highlighted for us over there. All right, so this is what we are measuring. We are looking for the optimum temperature. So that is one of the variables which are quite important to me in this investigation. Okay, then we get a little bit of a method. Okay, so a few things to highlight over here, that the learner selected 4 black plastic containers with lids. Slices of bread mold were placed in each container before closing the containers. 30 milliliters of water was sprinkled over each slice. It's one of the things he did for each slice of bread. Okay, container A was placed in the fridge. Container B was placed in the cupboard, which kept it cool. Container C was kept at room temperature, which was a mild temperature, and then container D was placed on the windowsill in the sunlight, which is the very warm temperature there. So we got 4 levels of temperature here. Fridge, which is cold, cupboard, which is cool, in a room, which was a mild temperature, and then on a windowsill, which is considered warm. And then we can see the bread mold growth in breads A, B, C, and D. Those would be the results of the investigation there. Now A, and I'm simply classifying here quickly, container A, B, C, and D, we see were cold, cool, mild, and warm. And now we're going to be linking those variables to each of our bread mold growths. Okay, we can see that A being cold, B being cool, C being mild, and D being warm. We can see the impact on the growth here. This is before we even get to the questions. So I've got some good context as to what the results of this investigation are going to be. Now, I'm ready to go forward and answer these questions. 3.1. Name the dependent variable in this investigation. And this is the variable that I'm measuring. And this is going to be the growth of the bread mold. The independent variable, okay, that I'm looking for here is going to be the temperature, that optimum temperature. That's what I'm measuring in this investigation. The optimum temperature for the growth of the bread mold. 3.2. State the relationship between the growth of the bread mold and the temperature. Now, we would have seen from the growth of the bread that as the temperature increases, so does the growth of the bread mold. Okay? As the temperature increases, so does the growth of the bread mold. Now, sometimes a memorandum will require you to write in the increases twice. So, in other words, as the temperature increases, the growth of the bread mold increases as well. Okay, so just keep that in mind. Sometimes the wording does matter there. All right, let's have a look at 3.3. State 3 ways in which the learner made sure the results were valid. Here we talk about validity, so it's about what was kept constant for all of the breads. So we used the same type of bread in each of the locations. We used the same volume of water for each one of them, and the same age of the slice of bread. So in other words, we're looking at the same size, and we made sure that because it's the same type of bread or the same loaf of bread, there wasn't an old slice and a fresh slice of bread there. But you can see here 3.3 is for 3 marks. So we're only going to be writing down our best 3 options for this answer, because the memorandum would have said to the marker, mark the first 3 answers to this question. So you got to make sure the first 3 you write down are your best 3 in ensuring the validity. Okay, let's have a look at 3.4. How could the learner have ensured the results were reliable? So now we're looking at reliability, and the fallback here is always looking at increasing our sample size and repeating the investigation. But we need to make sure now that our answer is geared to this specific investigation. So how would we have increased the sample size of this investigation? We would have used more slices of bread. Okay? How would we have repeated the investigation? Well, simply have done it more than once and then taken an average result for each of the growths. Okay, now we can see that we have, for question 3.5, using the scale given, place the different slices of bread in the percentage growth of bread mold. So moving from D to A, we can see here that D is at 95% growth, C 75% growth, and moving down, B doesn't quite fit with 50% growth, but more with 25%. And A, we have 5% growth. The reason we're linking it to percentage growth here is because the question asks us to record these estimations of growth in a table. So that's the next step. We are going to be giving our table a heading, percentage of bread mold on slices, or each slice of bread. We underline that, and then we proceed to draw our table. Remember, a table has got rows and columns. So my first column over here is for the slice of bread, and we've got the 4, A, B, C, and D. Then, in the second column, we've got the percentage growth. And be sure to put the unit in the top, okay, in the heading of that particular column, and then not throughout the body. Okay, it's the unit that will be in the heading. And now we can complete our table. A, B, C, and D, we've already linked each of our slices of bread to the percentage growth, so we can write in these different percentages there. Right, and there's my table. Okay, so this brings us to the end of question 3. I hope you've enjoyed going through it with me. I do hope that you join us for future videos. Make sure you get the worksheet, the theory booklet, and the answer guide to help you better prepare for the section on microorganisms. Join again soon. Thank you very much.